Hey everyone! So in today's video, we're going to go over recalibration and optimization. Recalibration is the process of extracting either a core attribute, or talent from one piece of gear, and then transferring it to another piece of gear. If you're still in the process of creating a build and you're still trying to get gear with stats or talents that you're generally happy with, then you probably don't need to recalibrate quite yet. In my mind, recalibration should be done once you have a build or loadout put together, and you may just want to swap out a talent or a attribute or core attribute. When you're transferring an attribute or a talent from one piece of gear to another, that original piece of gear will be destroyed in the process. That talent or attribute will have to be transferred to another piece of gear, which is the same gear type that it came from. So as an example, if I transfer one of these attributes from a holster, then I would have to transfer it to another holster, and it would have to go into the same field. For example, if I want to transfer the hazard protection stat from this holster to this holster, this one would get destroyed in the process. And since the stat is coming from the attributes field, then it would have to be transferred to one of these attributes. The first step is done through the Recalibration Library. Here you can see your different weapon types and armor types. The green arrow indicates that you have an item in that category that can be recalibrated. For the example we just went over, I'm going to swap out the hazard protection stat from one holster to another. So we'll click on the holster. And the hazard protection stat is an attribute. And now we just need to find the hazard protection stat in the list. And here it is. This is useful over here because you can see what the maximum stat is that you can roll on an item. So now we see the holster that has the stat that we want to extract. So once we do extract this stat, this holster will be destroyed in the process, and then the recalibration library will permanently store this stat. So anytime I ever have a holster that I want to transfer this onto, then I always have that option. So now we're just going to hold X to extract it. And there we go. So now we're back to the list of attributes that have been extracted from holsters. And right here we can see the 10% hazard protection stat that we just extracted. So now we want to transfer this stat from the recalibration library to the new piece of gear. So now we want to go into the Recalibration Station. And now we're going to select holsters. And now we're going to put that stat onto this holster. So click the holster. So now we have the option of selecting what field we want to transfer a stat to. So the hazard protection was a attribute, so we're going to go down there. And since both of these are attributes, I have the option of swapping both of these out. Hazard protection shows up for that one, and it shows up for this one as well. But if I selected the core attribute, the hazard protection stat isn't there because it's just a normal attribute. So I'm going to swap out the skill damage, and we're going to select the hazard protection. And then now I'm just going to hold X to transfer. And now it's been transferred over to my piece of gear. So now that this item has been recalibrated, we've transferred that hazard protection from the other holster to this holster. There's a symbol up here indicating that this item has been recalibrated. And once an item has been recalibrated, that specific statistic or attribute or core attribute or talent that has been modified, that is the only field that can be changed in the future. So I do not ever have the option of changing the weapon damage or critical hit chance for other attributes or other core attributes. I only have the option of recalibrating this field again. Now we're going to move on to optimization. Optimization is the process of improving a statistic on a weapon or an armor piece. So we're going to click on optimization, and then I'm going to click on a holster because I want to optimize something on my holster. And then we'll click on the holster I have equipped. And now I can see that I can improve my weapon damage stat on my holster. Currently it's at a 10.7% boost, and right now I have the option of moving it up to 10.9. So down here we can see the cost of the 4 different types of materials that will be needed in order to optimize this stat from 10.7 to 10.9. Some of these materials you can get from taking over control points or clearing out DZ landmarks. You also get project materials from completing projects. You also need faction materials from defeating enemies of different factions. And lastly, you need material gain from deconstructing this specific armor type or that specific weapon type if you're trying to optimize a stat on a weapon. So you can see I have enough material, so if I wanted to right now, I can improve this weapon stat. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to hold X. And now that's been optimized. Now you can see the weapon damage has been moved up to 10.9%. And with optimization, you have the option of continually optimizing the same stat over and over and over again until that stat gets to its maximum value. Right now, mine is at 10.9%, whenever the maximum value is 15%. So if I optimize it again, I would hit a new tier on this stat and it would be moved up to 12.3%. However, I don't have the materials. Optimization just doesn't seem worth it right now because the cost is just so high. It is very grindy and you have to do a lot of activities and you have to get rid of a lot of gear just to get materials in order for you to optimize this again just to get another 1.4% increase. You're better off just completing challenging, heroic, and legendary activities in order to get better gear that has better rolls in the first place. There's not really a point in taking this 10.9% weapon damage stat and going through this optimization process, getting it up to 15%. Whenever I could run a challenging mission or heroic or legendary and I have the chance to actually get a holster that would drop with 15% weapon damage stat already on it and I wouldn't have to use any materials. The recalibration system and the recalibration library is very worth it and it really seems worth your time because there are many times where you are going to get a piece of armor or a weapon to drop and you do not plan on using that weapon or that weapon type at all. You don't care about it at all, but it may have one attribute or one core attribute that is really good. It may be max or it may be higher than what you already have on one of your weapons. So you could take that weapon that you don't need, take that one stat and then throw it on another weapon that you are using and you just improved your weapon. And once you extract that attribute, core attribute, or talent from that weapon or from that piece of armor, then you permanently have it in the recalibration library. So now you should have a basic understanding of how to recalibrate your armor and weapons and how to optimize it as well. As I stated, the recalibration system in game right now is very good and it's very worth your time. And I think you should definitely be recalibrating your gear once you get a build or a loadout that you're generally happy with, because recalibrating is going to allow you to kind of finish off that build and kind of just improve some stats here and there and just finalize it in my mind. If you enjoyed the video, then a like would be appreciated and consider subscribing as well. I'm going to be doing more Division 2 in the future. I'm going to be doing a lot of beginner guides as well. If you are new to the game and there is something that you need help with, let me know and I'll be glad to help you out. And then finally, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Have a good day, guys.